I would strongly object to adding this language that includes protecting persons against discrimination on any ground prohibited by federal, state, or local law. There are a number of reasons for that. I believe that, first of all, when you talk about local law, we are now going to be talking about defining religious liberty differently in every jurisdiction of local government in the state. 159 counties, I don't know how many municipalities. So the uniformity is totally gone. I think that when you add something as broad as what is before us, you really have an exception that swallows the entire rule. I believe that this language, if added to the bill, for example, would prevent a religious school from having morality clauses in their contracts with employees. I believe it would interfere with very basic, fundamental religious rights, and so I would strongly oppose that amendment. And frankly, that amendment would completely undercut the purpose of the bill.
Specifically, identify that it's not intended to discriminate would undermine the purpose of the bill. That's what you just said. And if that is the case, then that tells me that the purpose of the bill is to discriminate. That's
couldn't be further from the truth. No,
okay.
Sir.
All right. Well, that's why I wanted to make sure I heard you differently.
I offered several reasons why I think that language is extremely injurious to the purpose of the bill. One of which is that no one sitting here can possibly know what the literally hundreds of jurisdictions around the state might adopt and caption an anti-discrimination ordinance. There's absolutely no way to know that, and there would be no uniformity in the law if that went forward. What I also said is that it would interfere with the ability, and one example is of religious schools that, as a matter of course, have morality clauses in their contracts with the teachers that teach in their schools to conform to the teaching of that religious institution. That's one example. I'm sure if given enough time I could come up with a lot of examples. What this committee, or what rather the special subcommittee, has heard zero examples of is the Religious Freedom Restoration Act language ever being used to defend a case of invidious discrimination. You had a former Attorney General of this state who has been hired by opponents to this legislation, who is, as I understand it, researched this extensively, and he was asked by members of this committee to cite a single case, and he was unable to do so. This law at the federal level has almost 50 years of case law behind it. In the 30-plus jurisdictions around the country, there's at least over a decade of case law in most of those jurisdictions, and the problem that might be intended to solve here has never manifested itself. So I would say for all of those reasons that it would be mistaken to move forward with that amendment. Third and finally, there's been this sort of nebulous argument that it could negatively impact economic interests, and that again is simply not the case. Like I said before, 32 jurisdictions around the country have this law in place. It's been in place at the federal level for 22 years. It's tested, and I appreciate the work of the subcommittee to produce a substitute that is before you.